Now we turn our attention to, well, politics. We're joined now by Professor Anthony Kila, who is a member of the steering committee of the Nigeria Intervention Movement. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, NIM.
Yes.
Why should it be a force to be reckoned with?
Why should it be?
Is it a force to be reckoned with?
Is it a force to reckon with? Everybody thinks they're a force to reckon with. I think the first question is the right question. Why should it be a force to be reckoned with? It should be because a lot of us believe that it is time to change the way we do things in Nigeria. So far, we're focused more on personalities and people than issues that affect our lives. So far, we've been led. The idea of the third force, NIM, is to provide an alternative way of doing things. And that way is a way that, on one part, would create active citizens. An active citizen is a citizen that not only votes, but actively sought how to influence the dynamics of things in the society. So NIM is together to create active citizens who would register to vote, who will influence voting, who will influence the agenda before voting starts. And NIM as an association is aimed at providing what I call the 5 Ps. NIM is going to identify, support, and promote people, policies, programs, processes, and principles that will help bring good governance in Nigeria.
Will these people include the other P, politicians?
Absolutely, they're citizens. I mean, you see, this is the idea. We're going to that way again. We're looking at people and we're saying, are they politicians? We want to change the dynamics and look at citizens. You are a politician the day you interest yourself in politics.
I mean, those running for office.
You become a partisan politician the day you run for office. Ideally, it should be a temporary thing. That moment when you run for it. You see, part of the problem we have in this country is that there are too many people who live off politics instead of living for politics. Politics is a passion. It's a view, it's a mindset. It's a service to improve your lot. Politics, that the way we know it, is about running for office, bribing, rigging, getting power, getting in poor, coming out rich. Politics should be about getting together and mending your road, writing letter to the electric board to say things are not working. Days before elections, sit down together and say, this is what we want. Who's going to do it? We need to create citizens who can dictate the agenda, not give a blank check of trust.
But how do you want to create the citizens?
How do we want to do it? We're going to educate, empower, encourage, and engage. Those are the 4 E's.
Educate, empower, encourage, and engage.
And engage the citizens. We start by education.
Okay, break it down.
We need to let people
know.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you know why I say break it down? Because you want to educate the people. Is it about the electoral process, their rights or the rights of the country, or the responsibility of the country to them, or the responsibility of the politicians to them? Is that the kind of education you want to give?
It's an holistic thing. You're going to go around to let people... At the moment, we need to move from ontology to action. We have an ontological problem in this country, an identity problem. Most of us, as citizens in Nigeria, do not really see ourselves as citizens. We see ourselves as followers. So, you know, just like caddies on a golf course. You follow the player regardless of where he's going, just because you're aligned. Maybe because of partisan affinity, ethnic affinity, or religious affinity. Citizens don't do that. You decide what are the 5, 10 things that matters to me in the next 4 years.
But you see, you're saying we're having a problem, an identity problem in this country. Isn't that a problem also with the NIM? Because there are those who are confused, whether the NIM is a political party or whether the NIM is another movement that's just, that would eventually, because we had a guest from NIM here who said, eventually it might turn into a political party. What exactly?
The future is a beautiful place to project. I mean, you guys are always courageous and you get people to predict the future. If you're looking at things the way I'm talking about it, the future is an opinion, is an aspiration, is hope. Certain things are sure. There's going to be election at a certain point. The question is, where will NIM be in that election, if that is what you're saying? It will dictate, because NIM is based, the third force is an alternative way to look at things, I repeat. Because it's based on issues, it will not really matter the process how to get there. But I will not shy from your questions like politicians do. What are the possibilities? There are three possibilities. NIM turns to a political movement. It is a political movement, actually, a partisan movement. It sponsors or aligns with certain people, or it supports...
Sponsors?
Yes.
What kind of people?
People who fit into those 5 Ps I mentioned. At some point, NIM is going to start some consultations as we go on.
So you sponsor people who fit into those points?
Yes,
who run for political offices?
Yes, who agree that they buy into these 10 cardinal points, for example, that we're going to lay out for good governance.
Who will agree?
Publicly.
So in doing that, you are not going to, say, support, or should I say, on the other hand, support just about anybody
Who does it?
I mean, without considering which parties they come from.
Absolutely.
So you can support someone from APC, PDP, APCA, and so on.
If they buy into those principles, yes. Then we're going to, you know, I talked about the process as well. Then we're going to look down. Somebody might say, oh no, Anthony Kila is just theoretical. We all need to be in one party. It's an opinion. We're going to look at it, and it will be well articulated.
So how will it work if or if a politician who the public already has a perception, maybe not too good perception, and the politician in quotes says, okay, I'm coming to name, but I have repented of my ways, which were not so famous. And he says this publicly to name. Will name, endorse, or sponsor such a person?
If somebody comes and is full of sins and he says, I've repented my ways, we're going to say to him, very good, welcome, stay in the redemption corner for a while. Pray and show some acts publicly that you've been redeemed. You see, that's part of the problem we have in this country. I've seen a lot of people who up to yesterday were known for evil. They say they've repented today, and next time you see them, they're pastors. And we need to change that kind of triple promotions. If people have done evil and they say, I've repented, then let them sit behind a bit and watch other people do it. We're going to tell people publicly that the days of saying that I did evil in the past, this is my chance to correct it, are over. If you've misbehaved or you've shown yourself to be incompetent in the past, this is the time to sit behind and let people who have not committed that error come out and do it. I'm very open with you. NIM has a bias. We have a bias for young people, we have a bias for new people, and we have bias for women, generally speaking. Because this country has gone to a level, really, and we have to be frank with ourselves. Nigeria has gone to a level in which I consider experience in office as a very dangerous thing in this country.
How so?
When people tell me they have experience, I'm always saying, gosh, you were part of the people that wrecked it. So, unlike the three of you gentlemen who can pride yourself of conducting different programs, and we can see what you've done, most people who have governed this country are to be feared. They've either been incompetent, dubious, or worse still, part of a conspiracy to defraud and dehumanize the people. So we need to move away from that. But you see, we shall not be moved by hatred or bitterness. NIM is a movement of the future. We're going to be trying to be constructive, coherent, and indeed we're going to do all as much as we can to be consistent in our ways.